Hi everybody. Today we'll be talking about a very important part of business communication, and that is effective crisis communication. By the end of this talk, you should be able to understand the importance of incorporating effective communication as part of a workplace disaster preparedness plan, be able to identify what steps can be planned for prior to a crisis and what steps should be taken during a crisis, and consider how new media technologies impact the way a crisis should be handled. A crisis communication plan is something that no business wants to have to deploy, but every business should be prepared for. Any situation that seriously disrupts business, significantly damages reputation, and or is threatening or could threaten to harm people or property is a crisis. Neglecting to craft a crisis communication strategy prior to a mishap can cause the damage to be magnified. During a crisis, it is imperative to effectively manage communications, not only to internal staff, but also to clients, vendors, customers, suppliers, and the media, in order to control rumors and misinformation. Poor communication can cause a breakdown in operation, stakeholder confusion and anger, and extended resolution time. An organization could be perceived as inept at best and criminally negligent at worst. However, there are some key elements that every business needs to understand when forming a crisis response. Before a crisis ever occurs, it is important that the organization perform a general risk assessment. Acting preemptively can help identify situations that are preventable by making changes to existing methods and allow space to brainstorm the best possible responses to best and worst case scenarios without the pressure of an active crisis. A general risk assessment often includes identifying the top areas of vulnerabilities within the organization, identifying the most critical business functions to an operation and how to best protect them, and establishing a crisis management team. Pre-crisis, it is essential to establish notification systems that familiarize staff with how they operate. This will allow management to rapidly reach stakeholders and employees using a range of methods. A simple emergency contact list stored remotely for easy and secure access is a good place to start. Companies may also enact alert notification systems that utilize text, email, or local broadcast stations. It is also possible that in certain types of crises, traditional communication networks would be compromised, such as cell phone networks, power grids, or computer systems. Companies may want to consider this and set up alternative methods of communication and include redundancies. Prior to a crisis, a company should form a small crisis communication team who will be responsible for managing the specifics of the crisis communication. A team like this often consists of senior executives led by the organization's CEO. Teams also may include the firm's top public relations executive and legal counsel. A crisis communications team member should be pre-screened and trained to be the spokesperson of the organization to the various channels of communication. Spokespersons must have the right skills and the right training. Every person involved in a crisis, internal and external, are just as capable of misunderstanding or misinterpreting information about an organization. It's the responsibility of the spokesperson to minimize the chance of that happening. Spokesperson training teaches preparedness and how to craft a message in a way that optimizes the response of all stakeholders. Once a crisis unfolds, it is best to be proactive and respond right away. It is in the best interest of the business for the spokesperson to break the news, rather than letting the story leak via social media or news outlets. An initial response statement should include an explanation of what the company has planned to manage operations, the safety of customers and employees, both physically and digitally, and the expected path to recovery. If the crisis was a result of an internal mistake, owning responsibility is almost always the best option. The response should humanize the experience as much as possible, meaning that the company cares more about the people impacted than their own bottom line. It is in the best interest of the company to continually make updates about a crisis as it unfolds or comes to an end, even after the initial hype has died down. Even if there is no major news to report, posting frequent updates allows customers and employees to readily find information that may otherwise get buried. It is best to make it simple for people to find relevant information if they are searching for it. Companies may choose to pin posts on their social media feeds, create pop-ups reporting important details on their websites, or add temporary headers to their page layouts. It is the job of the company to communicate response times, expectations, and fact updates. Companies who communicate that they understand how a crisis has impacted people and the frustrations they may be experiencing recover with less lasting impact from the crisis. Once the crisis is over and the smoke is cleared, a company should assess what was learned from the event and how it was managed. A formal analysis of what was done right, what was done wrong, and what could be done better next time will help improve various elements of the crisis preparedness plan. If you are interested in any of the topics I covered today, you could further explore these questions. For organizations, what are the challenges and advantages in managing a crisis? What do you believe should be a CEO's role in a crisis situation? And what is the role of ethics in crisis communication? Thank you for your time.